Hello and welcome to Longyearbyen. Located at 78 degrees north, Longyearbyen is the world's northernmost settlement with a population over 1,000. The town was founded by John Munro Longyear, an American industrialist, in 1906. He established it not so much as a town but as a mining settlement for coal. Eventually the mining operations were taken over by the Northernmost Coal Company, and they proceeded to build practically everything you see in Longyearbyen. The town was destroyed during World War II but was very quickly rebuilt. The mining company provided everything. The only thing the employees had to have were clothes, a mattress, and bed linen. The company was responsible for ploughing, water, fire, lighting, and telephone services. The company even owned the road and decided who was allowed to own and drive a car. A driving license requirement was only introduced in 1963. The domination of the mining company began to end in the 1960s when there was a greater need for co-determination. The local Svalbard Council was established in 1971, and in 1989 the mining company's operations were split up. The municipal services were handed off to government operations, while the mining company was purely for coal. Local democracy was fully implemented in 2002. There are still elements of the company town remaining. Most of the homes are owned by employers, and around 25% of the population changes every year. The average residence period here is 7 years. The buildings today even look like barracks. The town kind of looks like a camp, like it's not supposed to be here forever. Even the roads do not have names, but numbers. However, today in Longyearbyen, what is becoming more and more important is research, especially to do with Arctic research, climate change research, and of course tourism is a rapidly growing industry here. I did this walk around Longyearbyen in March of 2024. It was one of the coldest days of the year. It was minus 20 degrees Celsius without the wind chill. And you'll see in this walk, I end up walking really fast because the battery of the camera was dropping so quickly. However, that said, it was just an absolutely beautiful place, and I really think you'll enjoy this walking tour around Longyearbyen. On the left-hand side now, you'll see one of the daycares. This is the Kulungen daycare. It was built in 1997. On the right-hand side, you can see Longyearbyen Hospital. The hospital has urgent care, a children's clinic, dentist, physiotherapy, x-rays, and plastering for fracture injuries. For acute conditions that cannot be treated, the patient has to be airlifted to Tromsø, where the university hospital is. For surgery, at this hospital, they only do surgery to stabilize the patient before the patient has to go to the mainland. The hospital here has fewer services than what you get in normal Norwegian hospitals, and there are no psychologists, no delivery rooms, no CT or MRI scans. It's also very limited for operations. 22 people work here, including 4 doctors and 6 nurses. The optician comes twice a year. And yeah, take a look at the pipes in the ground. This is very common for Longyearbyen. It's a lot more obvious in summer, but because of the permafrost in the ground, all of the pipes have to be above ground, which makes it quite cool to walk around. These are definitely the most photographed houses in Longyearbyen. They're from the 1970s and they're nicknamed the Indian Village because of the pointy roofs. They're all on a road called Hilma Rekstensvei, which is one of the few roads in Longyearbyen with a name. It's named after the main chairman and shareholder of the Norwegian Coal Company, who was in charge from the war up until 1962. After more mines opened in the 1950s and 1960s, more homes for families were required with better standards. The town began to spread down into the valley that I'm now standing in. Here you can see the Culture House, where they have 2 stages, a cinema, a cafe, a rehearsal room, a sound studio, and a multimedia workshop. They have cinema screenings here on Wednesdays and Sundays. In the foyer, there is also a Mexican street food restaurant. To the right, you can see the Longyearbyen Council building. The council was established in 2002 and became the first local democracy on Svalbard. The role is to give the local population a chance to participate in important areas such as social and spatial planning, infrastructure, business development, and growth. They kind of have the same tasks as a municipality on the Norwegian mainland, and they maintain things like the schools, the library, sports, culture, infrastructure, and energy production. So this building has all of the government services that you would see in a small town in Norway. It's all the same thing. Posten is the post office, Nav is the welfare office, Skatteetaten is the tax authorities, and there's even Statens Vegvesen here, which is where you go to get a driver's license or do anything with your vehicle. Teenagers live here, so they need to learn how to drive. Imagine learning how to drive in Longyearbyen. It couldn't be too tricky. Now we're here at Lompen Senteret, which is the shopping mall. It was built in 1985. It was originally a cloakroom and laundry for the miners. Lomp refers to the miners' clothing. It has now been converted into a shopping mall, and I love the chocolate shop you can see here on the corner called Fruena. They make chocolate shaped like polar bears. There's also some really good sports clothing stores here, as well as a women's clothing and design shop called Frost, which is where I bought my polar bear mug. But they also have some really nice jewelry and very fashionable clothing as well. Here we can see the only grocery store on Svalbard. It's called Coop. Coop is a big chain that we find in Norway. And trust me, this grocery store has everything. I was a little bit jealous compared to the grocery stores we get here in Bergen. They had so many options here in Coop. You wouldn't think you were, 78 degrees north on a very remote island. So it's called Svalbard Butikken. They even have like cosmetics, they have electronics, they have homewares, and they even have a little souvenir shop. And I'm just showing you all the pubs and restaurants still in Lompen Center at the shopping mall. On the corner there was a really good restaurant called Stationen, the station. I went there on my first night in Longyearbyen and it was really, really good. It has a good atmosphere about it too. But anyway, you can see all of the shops are kind of in this square. If you look up on the mountain now across from Coop, you can see Mine 1, which was the one built by the Americans in the early 20th century. Here you can see one of the newest buildings in Longyearbyen. It is called Nordover. It opened in 2022 and it's the world's northernmost art centre. They have exhibitions and events with a focus on issues that relate to Svalbard and the polar region. They also have a cinema inside, as well as a really nice souvenir shop with a lot of handmade things from Longyearbyen. Now, as we make our way a little bit further out of town, you will see a lot of souvenir shops here, but this is also where a lot of the travel companies are. Alright, so now we are finished with walking through the shopping area where all the hotels are, the restaurants and so on. You can see I'm going through a residential area with these apartment buildings that do really resemble barracks. And what I'm going to do now is walk over to the old town. You can sort of see it in the distance behind this yellow building. To get there, we have to cross the river, which you will absolutely not see because this was done in the middle of winter. And it is a bit of a walk, but it is a really beautiful walk. So enjoy. Just also take a look to the left-hand side. You can see more of those above-ground pipes. Anyway, let's make our way over to the old town, where I will start talking once we get there. I know it's kind of hard to believe, but Longyearbyen actually has suburbs, and here you can kind of see the three suburbs. We're currently walking along Haugen to the left-hand side. Straight ahead of us is Nibyen, and then sort of straight to the right is Sverdrupsbyen. Just note, you cannot walk to Sverdrupsbyen because it is outside the polar bear protection limit. Nibyen is where you find the hostels, that's often one of the cheaper neighbourhoods. Haugen to the left is where you find the most expensive hotel, Funken Lodge. So yeah, Longyearbyen has suburbs. Now, if you just look, I show it very quickly. See that little house there on the left? That is Huset. Huset was built in 1951, and it's called the heart of Longyearbyen because they had a cinema, they had a school, they had an exercise room, apartments were there. Now it's a restaurant, but it is a really beautiful house, and I do recommend if you get the chance to head out there and visit the restaurant. So now we have arrived in the old town of Longyearbyen. Can you see all the posts sticking up out of the snow? That is where buildings used to be from before World War II. Most of them were barracks for the miners, but also, there were common rooms and so on all around here. Longyearbyen was bombed by the Nazis, which is why many of the buildings have disappeared. A few of the buildings from before World War II are still standing, and we will see them on this walk. But I really like that they've left all the posts sticking out, so you can see where the old town used to be. As you can see from all of the historic buildings we're passing, this is where the original settlement of Longyearbyen was. I love that they have all the posts sticking out of the ground to give you an idea where the barracks were. What's really interesting about Svalbard Church is not only is it non-denominational, but it is also where the original headquarters for the mining company were. So SNSK, the Store Norsk Coal Company, they were located at the site where the church is today. The original mining company headquarters were burned down by the Nazis in 1943. So yeah, that was the old town, and now you can see where Svalbard Church is. It is open 24/7, by the way, so you can go in for free. And now we're going to make our way down, and this was the point in the walk where it was getting so cold. I was losing about 1% of battery every few seconds. So the video will end very abruptly in about 10 minutes, and I do apologize for that. I wish I could have shown you a little bit more. I did record another video that I'm about to upload to YouTube after this one, where I filmed the same walk but in the evening, and it wasn't as cold, so I actually was able to do a full circle. And if you've watched that walking tour, it includes going past things like the university, the museum, and the Radisson Hotel. So that will also be available on my YouTube channel. I wanted to do 2 videos, one at night, one at day, and you can see why I wanted to do this one during the day, even though it was freezing cold. The last thing I'll say before I stop talking is that when I stopped filming this, my whole face, my beanie, my mouth guard, the scarf and everything was covered in ice. It was all frozen. So it was a cold day today. Anyway, now we're making our way down. You can see the telecommunications tower of Telenor straight ahead. And in this area, this is where you find the headquarters of the governor of Svalbard, which is the modern building to the right of the yellow one. This is also where the governor of Svalbard has his or her residence. Up to the left-hand side, you can see where the cableway systems from the mines would meet. No, I just moved around, but you'll see it again. This wooden device that you see here is where all of the cables would meet and then curve to head up to the main cableway system. And a last little note, you'll see a red house by this big silver structure where the cableways met, and that house is the home of the man who runs the film production company in Svalbard. And when Tom Cruise was filming here last year, he lived in that little red house that you see on the hill. Okay, so let's continue down. Enjoy this walk. So we are now heading towards the end of the walk. Straight ahead you can see the harbour area. I hope you enjoyed this walking tour of Longyearbyen. Be sure to head to the Hidden North website at thehiddennorth.com to read all of my travel guide information for Svalbard and for Longyearbyen. I also have separate videos filming a walk around the harbour from the cruise port to the town centre, and I also have walks where I walk in the evening to show you the blue hour. Once again, thank you so much for watching.